Hello everyone, welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100. Before I get into this week's theme, a couple bits of business. First of all, starting tomorrow, the collab is going to be taking a Christmas vacation. The next set of videos will start on the 28th of December, which is a week from Friday. So please have a happy holiday season, and we'll be back then. The second bit of business is that Ewan, aka Forkerball, who did the video on Monday, I want to say, Monday on this channel, has nominated me as the most professional critic here on this collaboration channel. I accept this nomination with a great deal of humility and pride and gratitude for the support and encouragement of my fellow film critics here on this channel. In particular, Ewan and Big Al 1982 who invited me to join the channel in the spring of last year. I'd also like to pay tribute to the other guys whose videos I enjoy and who seem to like mine a great deal as well. Dino, Ray, James, EJ, thank you all so much. Appreciate all the support that you've given me. And it's great that we have 7 people in the collab now, one for each day of the week, which we actually had this week. Our theme this week is Star Wars, and we've had a video from each of the guys. And as luck would have it, Al was the first person to post a video, of course, and so he did the original Star Wars film from 1977. And then the next day, EJ, of course, did Empire Strikes Back, which was the next one to be made. And Ray on Sunday did Return of the Jedi. And after that, we had Ewan doing the Phantom Menace, Episode 1 from 1999. And then James did, of course, Attack of the Clones, which he liked very much, and did a great video on that. And then Dino, who is one of the longtime members of the channel, talked more about the series overall, and about his hopes for the next Star Wars movie that's due out in 2015, that will be Episode 7. Which, of course, leaves me with the one remaining Star Wars movie that has not yet been talked about, Revenge of the Sith. And in some ways, this is the best of the 3 prequels, and in some ways, it's the worst. And it's the worst in the sense, I mean, technically, I like Attack of the Clones the least of the Star Wars movies. And as far as the prequels go, I really don't like any of them. I think that they're all really badly made films. Attack of the Clones has the most unpleasant stuff happening in it, for me. Sorry, James, I gotta be honest here. I really don't like the movie. There's stuff that I like about the Phantom Menace, in particular, Darth Maul, the big duel at the end, the Duel of the Fates theme that comes in, and there's other little moments that I think are good. And Revenge of the Sith is good in the sense that it wraps up everything nicely, and really gets to the core of what the whole trilogy is supposed to be about. But the problem for me is that, you know, obviously as a Star Wars fan, I've been looking forward to each one of these movies. The first one came out in 1977. I was 4 years old at that time. And I don't think I probably saw it right away. I probably saw it, you know, within that year or something like that. Probably closer when I was 5. But it became everything to me, you know. I mean, I loved Superman and Star Trek and all that, but Star Wars was just the ultimate. And I had all kinds of toys, and I just loved it to death. And The Empire Strikes Back was just amazing and crazy. Those twists, those revelations, and the Return of the Jedi, the big finale, and the Emperor, so very scary and intimidating. You know, it was wonderful. It was just a wonderful thing. And so I was primed for the prequels when they announced them. I wasn't sure that it was the best idea to make prequels in the first place, because it's not like we didn't know how the story was going to come out. It's exactly how I feel about The Hobbit. You know, you see the trailer for The Hobbit, and Ian McKellen says, "I cannot guarantee your safe return, Bilbo Baggins." And I go, well, I can. I've seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I know that he gets back to the Shire safe and sound. And with this, it's just like, yeah, I mean, there's a question of how exactly it happened, but what happens in the end, ultimately, that's already been answered. So what really is the point? But as the promotional gear started getting underway, you know, and the trailers came out and the clips were just like, wow, it's spectacular. It might not look like, you know, I mean, a lot of people complain about the CGI. I don't care if CGI looks not real. I care if it looks like blurry and badly rendered, but if it doesn't look quite real, it's fine with me. Special effects are always fun to look at to me, whether they're really, really well done or not so well done, as long as it's fun, as long as there's something fun and interesting looking about it. But each movie I was disappointed by. And I was hoping that each subsequent movie, okay, after I saw The Phantom Menace, I'm like, well, that could have been a lot better. But hey, Lucas probably is just, sort of out of the mode of filmmaking. He hasn't actually directed a movie in a long time, not since the 1977 Star Wars movie, so maybe the next one will be better. But it really wasn't. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that one wasn't so good, but maybe the third one will be better. And the third one was maybe just a little bit better than the other two, which really, for me, makes it worse, because it could have been so much better. The two principal problems with the prequels, and Revenge of the Sith in particular, is, A, this story didn't really need to be told. Not in 3 movies. Lucas really set himself up for failure early on by saying, well, Star Wars is not the first chapter, there's chapters that come before it. In fact, there's 3 chapters that come before it. I mean, like, why 3? Why couldn't there just be one Star Wars chapter that took place before A New Hope? But no, he had to make 3 movies, all right? So you're talking about this whole stretching out of the backstory involving, Darth Vader. Before he was Darth Vader, he was Anakin. We see him as a little kid, and he has the trauma of losing his mother, and he starts training as a Jedi. And I like the story of Palpatine and how he plays Anakin and how he manipulates him. I like it as a basic story, and how Anakin's worry and his fear of losing the girl that he loves so much is what leads into the dark side and what causes her death in the first place at the end. It's very nice poetic irony there. But yeah, the problem is you have, first of all, a movie that relies way too much on all sorts of set pieces that really don't have anything to do with the core story. In Revenge of the Sith, you've got a new character, basically, called General Grievous, who exists for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is for for Obi-Wan to go after while all the other Jedi are being killed on Coruscant. And the same thing with Yoda. They say, oh, we need to go to the Wookiee planet. We need to save them. Yoda, could you go to the Wookiee planet, and see how they're doing? Sure, fine. So neither of those two characters are there when, the Sith start wiping out all the Jedi and the clone troopers start wiping all the Jedi. It's just an excuse, basically, for that to happen. But for Obi-Wan and Yoda to survive. So you've got at the core, which is an interesting story, an interesting concept to me. I like it. And this is undoubtedly the what Lucas had in mind when he first conceived of these characters a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But it just takes forever to get around there. Not to mention the other big problem with this, and that is Lucas is so much more interested in character design and creature design, costumes, spaceships, weaponry, planets, and what have you, ships, and doesn't spend nearly as much time on the things that are really important when it comes to making a film, and that is writing, directing, dialogue, acting, really sort of getting that emotional connection there. All the dialogue scenes, or a great deal of them in the prequels, are very, very standard. They're not acted with a lot of passion. There's really only one really decent performance in the entire trilogy, and that's Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine, who becomes the Emperor. And his best performance is in The Phantom Menace, not even in the other 2 movies. He's got, of course, his big show-stopping moments in Revenge of the Sith, when he really gets to cut loose as the Emperor. But it just, again, it takes forever to get there, and there's just there's a real stiffness to the storytelling. Most of the scenes that aren't fights or chases of some kind, or big sort of huge sweeping shots of alien landscapes or creatures or what have you, are just basically, a couple people standing around or sitting around talking in a very dull manner, and there's not a lot of creativity there. And Lucas has said it's not his strong point dealing with actors. Like, well, that, if he knows that, why couldn't he get Spielberg to come in and just direct the dialogue scenes, Spielberg likes working with film, but still, he would have done him a favor. Anyone who has some sort of rapport and could really connect well with the actors, they could find the passion in it. But yeah, there's just so much that's lacking as far as just that magic, that spirit, that energy that you get from actors playing a scene and really inhabiting the characters and really sort of expressing a strong feeling about what's happening. It's just, it plays out all rather dull. And it's really disappointing to me because these would have been movies that I would have loved more than anything. And of course it just completely failed to live up to it. And Revenge of the Sith is more disappointing than the other two because you figured that Lucas would have learned from the mistakes that he made in the previous ones, but of course he doesn't think that he made mistakes in the previous prequels. In fact, I think he said once that his least favorite Star Wars movie is The Empire Strikes Back. That just goes to show you that he doesn't know what he's doing and he doesn't have any taste. So yeah, Revenge of the Sith is a loser, as is the other prequels, and I'm so glad that he's not, there's going to be more Star Wars movies made, and that he's not going to be doing them. That's fantastic. So, aside from Revenge of the Sith, there's a couple other Star Wars related films that I wanted to, or at least entertainments that I wanted to talk about before I, figured I ought to talk about Revenge of the Sith. There's a documentary called The People vs. George Lucas, in which basically you've got a whole bunch of people complaining about George Lucas and what he's done since Return of the Jedi. How much more focused he is on merchandising, how he's always changing the original trilogy when he really should be leaving it alone, how he thinks that he doesn't have any faults as a filmmaker. And how he keeps putting out these new editions, expecting everyone to buy it. They interview a lot of people. They interview fans. They interview guys who make the fan films, like the Phantom Edit and the Uncut Star Wars version, which is basically, like 200 different people all putting together their own little piece of the original Star Wars movie using like action figures or just makeshift sets, and then he stitches it all together in one big project. You've got film critics, you've got people who've written books about Star Wars, you've got also the Red Letter Media guys. I think they make an appearance in the movie. So The People versus George Lucas is just basically a whole bunch of people praising George Lucas for making Star Wars, but also complaining about what he's done to it since then. So it's a really fun documentary. I guess you could call it a documentary. It's more like just an essay film on how everyone feels about George and how he feels about it. The other thing, of course, that I want to mention is Red Letter Media and how he is basically this website that's created these very long reviews of each of the prequels. They've done a lot of other movies. They recently did Titanic and they did Avatar, but the crown jewel in their reviews is basically these long multi-part reviews of each of the prequels. They go into every single aspect of what the few things that have gone right and the many bad choices that were made in the prequels, and they are so funny. They're so incredibly funny. Plinkett is a fictional person, basically, this kind of creepy guy who keeps women chained in his basement, but he's the guy who's basically critiquing the movie. And the guys who run Red Letter Media, they do a video called Half in the Bag, I think once a month, or maybe once every 2 weeks, I'm not sure about that. But I've got links to the Red Letter Media review of Revenge of the Sith in the description if you want to check those out. As well as I'm sorry, I'm thinking of another video now, sorry. I'm a little confused because I'm shooting two videos at once right now, one for Kill Bill, for my Tarantino series on my personal channel, and this one right here, so I have to keep straight exactly which links I'm including in which video. So yeah, there is my my video on Revenge of the Sith and other Lucas-related projects. It's been a long day. So thank you very much for watching. I'm getting this up kind of late. But again, we're not going to have any more videos until the 28th, which is almost 2013. So we'll see you all in the new year with our next theme. Take care. If you haven't checked out the other guys' Star Wars videos, please do so. They're really good. So we'll see you again real soon with our next theme on the 28th. Take it easy. And thanks again for watching. Bye.